Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 1 and 0 podcast. I'm Joel Haas.
I'm Avery Hill.
Today, we're going to be previewing the upcoming Blue White game a little bit and just talking about some interesting storylines around the program. So, Avery, kind of getting ready for the Blue White game. What's something that you're looking forward to?
Honestly, I'm looking forward to Andy Kotelnicki's new offense. You think about the running game. He had Devin Neal last year. I think he had, 6.3 yards a carry, about 16 touchdowns, 1,200 yards. You have that potential in Nick Singleton and Katron Allen together. Even, I can't remember the backup running back, but he had about, 5 yards a carry, 600 yards. I think you add them to Kotelnicki's offense, they'll get back that explosiveness that they were missing last year. You saw they get the second level plays over. So I think seeing them in that offense, no matter what team they're on, I think that'll be something to watch just to see how they're used.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that we keep hearing about Kotelnicki is that he likes to spread you out. A lot of pre-snap movement, a lot of playing with your eyes, making it really tough on the defenses. And last year we saw that a lot of teams are trying to stack the box against Penn State, try and contain that run game. That might not be possible when you're, sending everyone out wide, putting everyone in motion, things like that, kind of distracting the defense. It can clear more of an opening for the running backs to kind of get back to form from what we saw in the 2022 season. And you mentioned, the 6.3 yards per carry for Devin Neal. That's kind of what we saw from Singleton his freshman year, and then that regressed. I think it was below 5 last year.
Yeah, about 4.4, I think, something like that.
Yeah, so it was way down last year, but yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I don't know, how much do you think they open up the playbook for this game? You think?
I don't think you want to show too much, but at the same time, obviously teams watch film. They watch Kansas film. They watch Penn State film. So there's some plays that you're just you already know they're going to run. So, I think they'll open it up, but you're not going to see anything that we haven't seen before as spectators.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it'll look pretty different from years past, but like you said, they're not going to go crazy. We're not going to see anything special there. Mostly some generic plays. But I think you can still take a lot away from that. You can still get a feel for kind of how the team is looking. And then especially for depth chart purposes, kind of seeing who's going to fill in those roles. As of right now, they haven't released the rosters, so we can only speculate, who's going to be on what team. But at media, Franklin said that he's going to try and make the teams as even as possible, which I think is good, to be a competitive game. Hopefully the guys are playing hard and we actually get to see what they can do.
Yeah, I think they have a really deep team this year. Splitting things up, I think you'll see, especially on the offensive side, a more fun brand of football. I think you'll get the ball down the field a little more. Obviously, Kansas passed for maybe 2,100 yards, nothing crazy, but obviously new personnel, you kind of adjust to it, and even then those 2,100 yards can come off more than just dump downs. It'll be guys getting in space, guys getting in motion, so I think that'll be fun. And even on the defensive side, I think you have a lot of depth. You have guys that's been waiting to step up, and Penn State is usually good at developing players, not just for the college but NFL level, so I think there'll be some surprises there and guys that step up big time for the team this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think one of the things that Kotelnicki does really well is he finds ways to get his best players on the field and get them the ball. He's said multiple times now that's kind of his goal. He had a great quote a few weeks ago where he said, if we have to put 8 offensive linemen on the field, we'll do it if those are our best players. We just want to get our playmakers out on the field. And I think, he'll give them a chance to do that. We don't really know what that looks like personnel-wise. There's some questions at receiver. We don't know if those have really been answered. They pretty much bring back the same receiver room they had last year with the addition of Julian Fleming. I know you included him as one of your players to watch in the story that came out earlier this week, if you want to talk a little bit about what you're expecting from him.
Yeah, him as a big physical receiver, he fits right into Kotelnicki's offense. Kotelnicki had guys 6'5", I think I saw 6'6", 6'2", 6'3", and they're all getting involved in the offense in various ways. I think that with Kotelnicki being able to use his playmakers, I think that he's going to look to Julian Fleming, especially not just on the field, but as a leader, kind of getting things together. I know Drew talked about it, how Julian has been helping the receiver room come together and mesh with the quarterback and things like that. So I think even with Julian Fleming on the sideline, I think his impact is going to be big time for this team, especially given that you're bringing back a lot of the same guys from last year.
Yeah. We didn't see KLS out at practice this week, so we're not sure if he'll be
Yeah.
there for the blue-white game. And if he's not, that's just more of an opportunity for Fleming, who, I mean, you could make the argument was wide receiver one either way.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to see a lot from him. I think this is kind of what he needed, just from talking to him, listening to him kind of explain his decision to come back to his home state. It just seems like he's kind of enjoying playing football again. He said this is the healthiest offseason he's had. I know he had surgery a couple times at Ohio State, and he showed flashes of that 5-star potential while he was a Buckeye, but just was never able to stay healthy for a full season. He said he feels healthy now. He's back home. He's in a new offense that's gonna, that says they're gonna try and get him the ball more, get him, give him more opportunities, things like that. He's probably the wide receiver one this year, or at worst case scenario, probably wide receiver two. So he'll get a lot of touches. Just being closer to home, everything like that, just sounded like he was having a good time, kind of enjoying his time here. He said he gets to see his family more now. They make it out to practice. They get to watch him play. He said his mom, uncle, grandfather all come out all the time to watch him. He gets to go home on the weekends. He said he went home for Easter. He gets to watch his little sister play like her sports games on the weekends, things like that he couldn't get at Ohio State. And, that's not necessarily on the football field or in the film room. That's kind of in his personal life. But I feel like things like that can kind of go overlooked sometimes, where it's like just kind of, being closer to your family does have benefits like that. Maybe you're just in a better, mental space, or you just have that support system with you that you're just closer to. And that could benefit him too in his return to Penn State. So, I really feel like he could be due for a breakout, all Big Ten type season. I feel like, you'd probably agree with that too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the point you brought up about just being closer to home, the benefits of that obviously has benefits and pros and cons depending on where you come from, things like that. But coming from an area like this, I think that it's only going to help him. It's going to keep him leveled, especially now that he's deep into his college career. Maybe staying at home at first might not have been good for him, but now staying at home, kind of getting that support that he needs, just feeling, closer to home and where he obviously wanted to be is something that's going to be big for him. And I think that if he's healthy, I think we could look for a really big year from him.
Yeah. One of the things we didn't even mention was just coming from Ohio State, the players that he was around, just behind all these first-round picks, alongside all of these first-round picks, there are some things you pick up from that, just their work ethic, their habits, things like that, little tips, little things like that he can kind of bring to Penn State. And we kind of heard that was what he was doing. He was kind of sharing some stuff with the guys, kind of, what it takes to be at that level. And I feel like the wide receiver room, we keep hearing they have a chip on their shoulder. And if that's the case, you've got Fleming coming in, and he's telling you if you want to, get to that level where you have these elite receivers, if you really want to be an elite room, these are the types of things you have to do. And then on the other side, you have, all the receivers who have been getting all this hate from, outside the program. Everyone's saying that, they weren't good enough last year. And you combine that kind of into motivation. You can use that to really turn the room around and have a better year. And we keep hearing, from the quarterbacks, from the coaches, whoever it is, that these receivers, they're really working harder, making more plays. And, they're always going to say that. They're going to tell you that every year. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think the blue-white game, again, will be a great opportunity to showcase that. But kind of moving away from Fleming, are there any other players that you're kind of interested in seeing?
Honestly, I think Tony Rojas. Obviously last year he came on the scene with the Maryland game. That was a huge game. Had the forced fumble, interception within 3 snaps. Had a pretty good game against obviously I think it was UMass. He kind of stepped up throughout the season, and obviously through that Maryland game he got more opportunities. I think now he'll be able to be used a little more, and he might start probably. I would say he would start. I think he's really versatile. He can get downhill, he can cover, and I think that even just his overall skill set coming out of high school. I know he's from Virginia. What was he, Gatorade Player of the Year? He came out of there as playing running back, everything. So you kind of see that diverse skill set that he has. I think that he's going to put that together at Penn State, which a lot of people consider linebacker U. So I think fans, they have something to look out for with Tony Rojas.
Yeah. Definitely a special talent there, just kind of continuing that LBU tradition. Gatorade Player of the Year in Virginia, like you mentioned. He's kind of from our neck of the woods in the DMV. I think my high school actually played him. I think it was the year after I graduated and lost like
Yeah, that
59
couldn't have been
nothing.
fun. Couldn't
It
have been
was
fun.
it
No.
was it was ugly. Yeah, bad day for the Jaguars, but great day for the Lions. And Rojas that day, and then he was also I think he was a running back too in high school,
Yeah, he was a
two-way
running
player.
back. Yeah, he played. I think he played at least 3 positions. I think I've seen some receiver. Could have been. I would play him at quarterback if I was a high school coach. I mean, but
Right.
yeah, he's really versatile, and now he's able to put that skill set together. And I think even coming from that area, we talk about the DMV, like he's able to get all those different pieces because you have guys that are the jack of all trades in the DMV. You get a lot of really athletic guys. You get guys that can cover. You get all sorts of just versatile guys, and I think that bringing that to again what people consider linebacker that's a pretty good mix.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like you definitely have some great players that have come out of the area, but at the same time, there's not necessarily that depth. So sometimes coaches are more inclined to play you on two or even all three phases of the game and just kind of get their best players out there as much as possible. But yeah, really looking forward to Rojas on the defensive side of the ball. Like you mentioned, yeah, I mean, he could be in for a breakout season. I would definitely agree. I think he's in line for a starting role this season, so he should be a focal point of the defense under Tom Allen. And I mean, we've seen last year Diaz, I believe, was more of a 4-3-4 guy, and
Yeah,
Allen's more of a 4-2-5 guy. Which part of that I think Carter moving to DN kind of helps because now you
you're
just
still
can
getting a
have
linebacker.
right. You
He's
can
just
keep him
moving
on the
down.
field.
You
Exactly.
can get kind of versatile with how you attack things. You can drop him into coverage if you need to. Just
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be better for his skill set, honestly, this way. But yeah, I mean, a lot to look forward to in the blue white game. Thank you guys for watching the 1-0 podcast. I'm Joel Haas.
I'm Avery Hill.
That's all we have for you guys today, but you can get more football content at psucollegian.com and follow us on socials. We'll see you next time.
See ya.